Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, My Kinda Art, with me, Ivan Florentino Ramirez. And for today's video, I'm super excited that another year of Inktober is here. And although I don't always complete all 31 drawings, I do remember one of my favorite years that I drew one of my favorite things is Halloween monsters. And although this wasn't in the October prompts, this one was just something that I knew that I would have a lot of fun with. And hopefully you get inspired and get some ideas to create anything you want during this Inktober. But before we get started, if you want to help support this channel, please hit that like button, ring the bell, leave a comment, and subscribe for weekly pop culture videos, drawings, live streams, and step-by-step tutorials in the world of art in various mediums like pencil, graphite, ink pens, and digital painting. So let's get started. I drew a lot of popular scary movies and slasher villains from pop culture and just years and years of many horror films. For example, I drew the classic Ghostface from the Scream franchise. That's a bit more of a modern 90s film. But then I went all the way back by drawing Bela Lugosi from the 1931 film Dracula. He was really cool to draw. He's such a classic character, very dapper, but an iconic character. And then I went for Pinhead from the film Hellraiser. He always looked really cool with the leather bondage in his entire body, the pale skin, and those cool pins all over his head. Very great design. And I knew I had to draw the classic that everyone just associates Halloween with, is Frankenstein's monster. He looks so cool to draw with his weird looking eyes, a lot of scars in his head, and that really huge forehead. And for that iconic clown, it's all about Pennywise. This one specifically the 1990s film of the Stephen King TV adapted series. But one of my favorite childhood horror movies has always been Chucky and the Child's Play series, specifically part 1, but he just always had a cool design for a killer doll, very iconic. And in the realm of vampires, the one that started it all way back is Nosferatu, and this is one of those black and white films that I actually recently saw in the past 2 to 3 years for the first time, and it was really cool. Now, one of the all-time scariest movies ever made was The Exorcist, one of my favorite films, and here is Linda Blair, who played Regan McNeil. Everyone knows the spinning head and the vomit coming out of her in that one scene. Really cool. And a classic slasher villain, Jason Voorhees with the hockey mask from Friday the 13th, is an iconic Halloween costume and character. And a modern design for Pennywise for the 2017 It remake was a fun one to do, and I actually, before I forget, these are all done with Micron ink pens and Prisma markers. One of the rare movies that I like to watch every year, because I don't do that with every film, with a lot of films actually, is the original Halloween movie. And here is Michael Myers. This is such a cool and creepy looking mask and character that I just love that film, and it's just one of those most recommended movies for horror fans. You have to watch it if you've never done so. Now, a Japanese remake from the original Ringu, this one is called The Ring for the American version, where she comes out of the television, is an iconic scene, and I'm glad I did this because it turned out really cool. And now Tales from the Crypt, I think this was called The Crypt Keeper. This one was always one that I actually never got scared of, but I was a lot older when this came out, but it just looked cool, and I know a lot of people remember it, and I see it at Halloween stores all the time in costumes or Halloween decorations. And I love the original Saw, and the sequel was actually pretty good too. This one was a Jigsaw. This Jigsaw doll has always looked pretty cool and very creepy. And we can't forget the classic Predator, especially when he's unmasked. That scared me as a kid back in the day. This took a lot of time and a lot of detail as well. And a movie that I recently saw within the last few years was Carrie. And this one was one that I've always wanted to see, and when I did, it did not disappoint. She's a very creepy character, and you have to see the movie. And one of my favorite films of all time, The Silence of the Lambs. Here we have Hannibal Lecter with his mouth covering face guard. This one looked pretty cool now that I see it when it comes to more of a realistic human figure. So good. And now Frankenstein's Bride is another one that is also pretty iconic, and I see all the time in pop culture and in a lot of films and cartoons being kind of parodied. As for zombies, Night of the Living Dead, this is an iconic one, where I remember looking up different things on Google, and this is one of the ones that was the most recognizable. It looked pretty creepy. When it comes to Nightmare on Elm Street, you can't get any more creative than Freddy Krueger and his burnt face and those finger knives. I had so much fun making him. Now the creature from the Black Lagoon, I've never seen this. This is this water creature that looked pretty cool. Very nice design. You can tell that it's of its time. I've never seen the film, but I just liked the way that it looked. And hopefully they do a remake. I'm surprised they haven't done a remake for this. And next is another classic, not a villain, but more of a Halloween character, is Elvira. I remember growing up and she was in a lot of films and a lot of TV. Now Alien, this xenomorph from the Alien franchise and Aliens, is such a cool design that I know everyone knows who and what this is. I had fun drawing this one. And one of my favorites is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and here's Leatherface. The original film from the 1970s is such a scary film. I love watching it. And this Dracula character was fun to do as well, with that cool hairdo that gets parodied in a lot of films and movies and even in cartoons. And for another Japanese remake, Ju-on, and the American version, The Grudge. This is the little girl that comes out in that film. She looked pretty creepy as well. And now Venom, I just kind of decided to draw this just because it looked cool, especially with a lot of Prisma marker and a lot of designs for its teeth. I had fun with that one. And the Wolfman, the original one, this one I've never seen the film either, but I just like that design, the very hairy face. This is another one that's in the realm of the classics. And growing up, the Leprechaun films, although they were kind of cheesy and very low budget, I just liked how creepy he looked. Very, very scary. And one of my favorite films also is The Shining. And this is the iconic scene where he's breaking the bathroom door with the axe. With that classic line, "Here's Johnny." And last but not least, here we have the Pale Man from the film Pan's Labyrinth. And this one has always been a great design, very creepy and very creative with the eyes that he takes out and puts it in his hands to see. Very, very cool. So yeah, that was a nice look back at some of these favorite drawings that I did for Inktober a few years back. I hope you guys had fun with this. And don't forget to mention in the comment section down below if you guys will be participating in Inktober and if you have ever even done any of that in the past. Can't wait to see what other people have been drawing or what will be drawing for this Inktober prompts as well. And stay tuned because I do have a live drawing coming up real soon that's all about Inktober. Thank you guys so much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.